All right. So, uh, it looks like someone's got a pretty awesome wine trip in the works.
Yeah, some amazing destinations.
We're talking Germany,
Mhm.
Austria, Hungary, Tokaj specifically.
And Greece.
So let's dive into these excerpts you gave us and maybe pull out a few gems to help you pick out some bottles on your trip.
Yeah, and maybe a few for your cellar back home, too.
Okay, perfect. So first up, Germany.
Right.
Germany is pretty much like Riesling Central, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's what they're known for. So
Yeah.
what makes their Riesling so unique?
Well, it all starts with climate.
Uh-huh.
Germany has a cool continental climate with wet summers and drier autumns, so that gives the grapes a really long growing season to develop their complexity.
Oh, so they have a lot of time to like really soak up all those flavors.
Exactly, and to maximize that sunshine, they plant their vineyards on those steep south-facing slopes.
Right. I've seen those pictures. They look amazing.
Yeah, it's not only beautiful, but those slopes also have well-drained soil, which is perfect for Riesling.
Okay, so picture this.
Oh,
You're sipping on a crisp Riesling overlooking a picturesque hillside vineyard.
that's the life.
I mean, that sounds pretty idyllic, right?
Absolutely.
But my research says that Riesling isn't just one type of wine.
You're absolutely right. German Riesling can range from light and floral to rich and peachy, from bone dry to lusciously sweet.
Whoa, so it runs the gamut.
It does. It all depends on when the grapes are harvested and the winemaker's choices during the winemaking process.
Okay, so that's where I got a little confused with all those German wine classifications.
Yeah.
Can you help me decode this whole Prädikatswein system?
Okay, so think of it as a sweetness ladder, and it all comes down to the sugar level in the grapes at harvest.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you start with Cabernet, which is the lightest and most delicate with those refreshing green apple and citrus notes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you climb up to Spätlese, which means late harvest,
Okay.
with more concentrated stone fruit and peach flavors.
So if I'm craving something a little richer,
Yeah,
Spätlese is the way to go.
exactly. And then there's Aslis, where they handpick extra ripe bunches of grapes.
Wow, so they're really going for those like super concentrated flavors.
Absolutely. So you're going to have even more intense flavors here.
Hmm.
And this is where we start to see the magic of noble rot come into play.
Okay, noble rot.
Yes.
My notes say that it's a fungus, which doesn't sound very appealing,
Yeah.
but apparently it's a good thing.
Trust me, noble rot is a winemaker's best friend, especially when it comes to sweet wines.
Oh, really?
It's this fungus that dehydrates the grapes and it concentrates those sugars and flavors.
So it's like raisioning the grapes on the vine.
Exactly. It's key for the next two levels on the sweetness ladder, Biernoslis and Trockenbiernoslis.
Oh my gosh, those names are a mouthful.
I know, right?
What should I remember about those?
Okay, so these are the superstars of sweet wines.
Okay,
Intensely sweet, luscious, and complex.
okay.
You're going to think honey-dried apricots, candied fruit, all of that.
Wow.
These wines are made in tiny quantities, and they can age for decades,
Wow, decades.
which is why they often command a higher price tag.
Makes sense, the more work that goes into it.
Exactly. And, and keep an eye out for Grosses Gewächs on the label.
Grosses Gewächs.
Yeah. That designation means it's a top-tier dry wine from a specific vineyard site.
Okay, so basically Grosses Gewächs is like a little signal
Yes.
for this is a really special bottle.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, now before we move on to Austria, is Riesling the only white grape I should be looking for in Germany?
Riesling is definitely king, but there are a couple of other white grapes worth exploring.
Okay, what are those?
So you might come across Müller-Thurgau, which makes lighter-bodied wines, but it's not as popular as it used to be.
Okay,
And then there's Sylvaner, which has a bit of an earthy character to it,
okay.
and is actually making a comeback, particularly in the Franken region.
Ooh, interesting. So Riesling first, then maybe a Sylvaner for something different.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, what about German reds?
Oh, yeah.
I seem to remember something about Spätburgunder.
Ah, yes. Spätburgunder is the German name for Pinot Noir. And it's actually gaining traction in warmer regions like Pfalz and Baden.
So there's red wines in Germany.
Yes, they're known for producing both lighter fruity styles and then richer oak-aged versions.
Oh, wow. So there's something for everyone.
Absolutely, there's something for everyone in Germany.
That reminds me, we need to talk about the different wine regions.
Yes.
My head's spinning a little bit with all these different grapes.
Yeah.
But, knowing where they come from really adds another layer to the experience.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Just like the different grape varieties, each region brings its own unique character to the wine.
Right. It's like terroir, right?
Exactly. Like think of it as exploring different neighborhoods in a city.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, they all have their own vibe.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready for our German wine region tour.
Okay,
Where should we start?
let's start in the Mosel Valley.
Mosel, okay.
So picture this steep, slate-covered slopes rising dramatically from the riverbanks.
Whoa,
It's breathtakingly beautiful.
I can only imagine.
And this is Riesling territory through and through.
Okay, so if I'm craving that like classic, elegant Riesling with a touch of minerality,
Yes,
Mosel is the place to be.
you got it. And the Rieslings are known for being light-bodied with that vibrant acidity.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Perfect for a warm afternoon.
Perfect.
Hmm.
Now, what about Rheingau?
Okay.
It sounds familiar, but I can't quite place it.
So think rolling hills in a slightly warmer climate compared to the Mosel.
Okay.
You'll find both dry and medium-bodied Rieslings here, often with those richer peach and apricot flavors.
Ooh, peach and apricot.
Yeah.
That sounds right up my alley.
And this is where many of those luscious Beernoslees and Trocken Beernoslees wines come from.
Ah, okay. So Rheingau for a bit more richness and complexity.
Exactly.
Got it. I'm sensing a theme here. The warmer the region,
Yes.
the richer the wines.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of warmer regions, what about Rheinhessen?
Rheinhessen is the largest wine region in Germany.
Okay, the largest.
They used to be known for simpler everyday wines, but now they're producing some really impressive full-bodied Rieslings as well.
Oh, so that's where I might discover a hidden gem, like
Yeah.
a Riesling that punches above its weight class.
You never know what treasures you're going to find there.
I love a good underdog story.
Exactly. And if we're talking about sunshine and warmth, we can't forget about falls.
Pfalz, is that the one that's almost like an extension of Alsace?
You're right on the money.
Okay.
It's sometimes called Germany's Tuscany because of all the sunshine.
Oh, wow.
And you'll find dry, full-bodied Rieslings in Pfalz that can actually rival those across the border in Alsace.
Okay, I'm adding Pfalz to my list for sure.
Awesome.
Now, what about Franken?
Okay.
That's the Sylvaner stronghold. right?
Exactly. Franken is a bit cooler and prone to frost.
Oh.
So growers really have to prioritize the warmest spots to make those Sylvaner grapes happy.
Oh, wow. So Franken sounds like a region with a lot of heart, where the winemakers really have to work with nature to create something special.
It is.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the whirlwind tour of Germany.
Oh, wow.
So many regions and styles. It's amazing.
And we haven't even left Germany yet.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
But maybe we should save the rest of Germany for later and hop over to Austria next.
Yeah, you're right. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
Austria sounds like a perfect place to continue our adventure.
It is.
Like they have those stunning Alps and apparently a whole world of wine waiting to be discovered.
They do. And just like Germany has Riesling, Austria has its own flagship grape.
Gruner Veltliner? Gruner Veltliner.
Yes.
With its own fascinating story to tell.
Absolutely.
All right, Gruner Veltliner, here we come. Lead the way.
Let's go. So Austria has this cool continental climate, similar to Germany,
Okay.
but with shorter summers and those notoriously harsh winters.
Oh, wow.
So you might think it's all white wines, but
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
you'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
Austria does have fantastic white wines,
Go on.
but they also produce some excellent reds.
Oh, cool. What kind of reds are we talking about?
Especially from grapes like Zweigelt and Blaufränkisch.
Okay.
But before we get to those, we have in the Viet to talk about Gruner Veltliner.
Okay.
It's their star player.
Gruner Veltliner.
Yes.
It's fun to say and apparently delicious to drink.
It is.
What's the deal with this grape?
It's known for its peppery notes, high acidity, and it can age beautifully.
Okay.
And what's really cool is that it can range in style from light and zesty to rich and complex.
Oh, really? So it's kind of like Riesling.
Almost like Riesling, yeah.
Like it can be made in a bunch of different styles.
Exactly.
I'm definitely adding that to my tasting list.
Yes.
What else should I be looking for in Austria?
Well, Riesling also has a strong presence in Austria,
Oh, really?
especially in cooler regions like Warschau, Kemptal, Kremstal.
It seems like cool climates and Riesling go hand in hand.
They really do. Yeah. What makes Austrian Riesling different from the German ones?
Yeah, what is it?
Austrian Rieslings tend to have a bit more body and a riper fruit character compared to their German counterparts.
Interesting.
It's those subtle differences that make exploring wine regions so much fun.
Totally. It's like two artists using the same colors to create completely different paintings.
Exactly.
Okay, what about those red grapes you mentioned earlier at Zweigelt? And what was the other one?
Blaufränkisch.
Blaufränkisch, yes.
So Zweigelt is actually Austria's most planted red grape.
Okay.
It produces wines with a deep color, smooth tannins, and appealing berry fruit flavors that are easy to enjoy.
Okay, so Zweigelt sounds like a great introduction to Austrian reds.
It is.
What about Blaufränkisch?
Frankish, think of it as the more serious sibling.
Okay.
It has firmer tannins, high acidity, and you get those peppery notes that we talked about earlier.
Okay.
It's a wine that can age beautifully and develop even more complexity over time.
Ooh. I do love a wine with a bit of mystery.
I know, right?
My mental suitcase is getting full with all these Austrian wines.
I bet.
Speaking of different areas,
Yeah.
we should probably talk about Austria's wine regions, right?
Yes, you're right. Austria has a variety of wine regions, each with its own distinct personality, and of course, delicious wines.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's continue our wine region tour. Where to next?
Let's start in Niederösterreich, or Lower Austria.
Niederösterreich. Okay.
It's the largest wine-producing region in the country
Okay.
and home to some iconic spots.
Niederösterreich, that rings a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there something in our notes about, like, Wachau?
Yes.
It sounded stunning.
The Wachau is a truly special place.
Okay.
Think steep terraced vineyards clinging to the hillsides overlooking the Danube River.
Whoa.
It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site
Wow.
and famous for those world-class dry Rieslings and Gruner Veltliners.
Wow, I'm getting chills just imagining that view.
Right, no, right.
Okay, Wachau is at the top of my must-visit list.
Yes.
What other Niederösterreich regions should we know about?
Weinviertel is another key region known for, you guessed it,
Gruner Veltliner.
Gruner Veltliner.
Well, of course.
And this is where you'll encounter the DT system.
The DT system.
Yes, it stands for Districtus Austriae Controllatus.
Whoa.
I know.
Okay, is that anything like the Grosses Gewächs designation we talked about in Germany?
It is similar in that it signifies a certain level of quality and regional typicity.
Okay.
So basically, it guarantees that you're getting a wine that's typical of a specific region.
So in the Weinviertel DA,
Yeah,
I know I'm getting a Gruner Veltliner that
Oh.
truly reflects that area.
exactly.
Okay, so it's a way to ensure you're tasting the region's unique expression
Yes.
of the grape.
Exactly.
That makes total sense. Are there different types of DA wines?
There are, for example, there's Classic, which signifies a lighter, fresher style of Gruner Veltliner.
Okay.
And then there's Reserve, which means the wine has higher alcohol and may have some oak aging.
So classic for easy drinking and reserve for something a bit more serious.
Exactly.
Got it. What other Austrian wine regions are on our virtual tour today?
Let's head over to Burgenland, which borders Hungary.
Burgenland, okay.
Now, this region is known for both its reds and its sweet wines.
Wait, reds and sweet wines.
I know.
That's quite a range.
It is. How does that work?
So Burgenland is fascinating because it has this unique microclimate influenced by Lake Neusiedlersee.
Okay.
The lake creates ideal conditions for,
Noble rock.
yes, noble rot.
Uh-huh. So those autumn mists from the lake help create those delicious sweet wines we talked about earlier.
Exactly. And on the other side of the spectrum, the reds are produced in the hillier areas of southern Burgenland.
Okay.
Zweigelt is the most planted red grape.
Okay.
But you'll also find Blaufränkisch, Pinot Noir, and even some international varieties like Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon.
Wow. So much variety.
Wow.
Are there any specific areas within Burgenland that stand out?
Absolutely. Burgenland has a DSI for its sweet wines and 3 different Ds for Blaufränkisch,
Really?
with Middle Burgenland being the largest.
Wow.
And they even have a DSI for Zweigelt around Lake Neusiedlersee.
So if I'm in Burgenland and I see a Dan on the label,
Yeah,
I know I'm getting a taste of that specific area's specialty.
you got it. Very cool. Any other stops on our Austrian wine adventure?
We can't forget about Steiermark or Styria, which is known for its cool climate and surprisingly, its Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc in Austria.
I know, right?
That's unexpected.
It is.
I thought they were all about Gruner, Veltliner, and Riesling.
You would think so,
Right.
but Steiermark's cool climate and unique soils create the perfect environment for Sauvignon Blanc to thrive.
Right.
So think vibrant acidity, zesty citrus, and those herbal notes that Sauvignon Blanc is known for.
This is why I love diving deep into these regions.
Yeah,
There are always surprises around every corner.
absolutely.
Austria has definitely blown me away.
It's a country that often gets overshadowed by its bigger neighbors, but it has so much to offer.
It really does.
Now, are you ready for our next adventure?
Oh, yes.
We're going to a region steeped in history and legend,
Okay.
a place where sweet wines reach their pinnacle.
Oh, I think I know where we're headed. Tokaj, Hungary.
Yes.
Bring on the legendary sweetness.
Tokaj is truly in a class of its own, prepared to be amazed by wines unlike anything you've ever tasted.
Okay, Tokaj.
Yes.
It just sounds like a name straight out of a fairy tale.
It does.
And I'm ready to discover what makes these Hungarian sweet wines so legendary.
Tokaj is a place where history and climate and tradition all come together to create something truly special.
Okay, now our sources mentioned something about like rivers playing a role in this whole noble rot thing.
You're right. The Bodrog and Tisa rivers create a unique microclimate in Tokaj.
Oh, okay.
Think morning mists and warm afternoons.
Oh, no.
Perfect for encouraging Botrytis cinerea,
Oh.
the fungus behind noble rot.
So it's like these rarers are helping to create the perfect environment
Yes.
for these intensely sweet wines.
It's all about that perfect balance of moisture and warmth, but it's not just the climate.
Okay.
We need to talk about the grapes, too.
Okay.
Tokaj has 3 indigenous grape varieties.
Now,
Ferment Harsleveliu and Sarga muscatali.
wow, those are definitely new ones for me.
They are.
I'm going to need some help pronouncing those.
Yeah.
But tell me what's so special about these grapes.
Well, ferment is kind of the backbone of Tokaj.
Okay.
It's known for its high acidity and concentrated flavors.
Okay.
It can make both dry and sweet wines,
Yo.
but it really shines in those luscious, sweet tokachi.
Okay, so ferment is the star player. What about the other two?
So Harslevin is known for its beautiful floral aromas.
Okay.
It adds a lovely perfume to the blend.
So if ferment brings the intensity, our Slovenier brings like the elegance.
Yes.
What about Sarga muscatali?
Sarga muscatali adds aromatic complexity and a touch of spice to the mix.
Okay.
So it's all about layering those flavors.
Okay, so we've got noble rot. We've got these unique grapes. What's next? How do they actually make these legendary Tokaji wines?
This is where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
First, we need to distinguish between dry and sweet tokaji.
Okay.
You can actually find some really great dry wines made in Tokaj,
Oh, really?
often from ferment,
Okay.
that showcase the region's terroir in a different way.
So you don't have to go full-on sweet to experience the magic of Tokaj.
Exactly. But when most people think of tokaji, they think of the sweet stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a whole spectrum of sweetness to explore.
Okay.
One of the most intriguing styles is called tokaji zamorodny.
Samarodny. Okay, that's a new one. Break it down for me.
So samorodny means as it comes in Hungarian,
Okay.
which basically means they use both botrytized and non-botrytized grapes.
So Samarodny can be dry or all sweet depending on how much noble rot is in the mix?
You got it. It's a fascinating style that sort of bridges the gap between dry and sweet.
Oh, cool.
But the real stars of Tokaj are the Azu wines.
I know we get to those. They're like the royalty of sweet wines, right?
They are.
But what makes them so special?
So Azu wines are made using a very unique and labor-intensive process.
Okay.
Imagine this. They start with a base wine made from healthy grapes.
Okay.
And then they take these super special Azu berries that have been shriveled and concentrated by noble rot.
Okay.
These berries are hand-picked, by the way. And then they macerate those Azu berries in the base wine.
Wait, so they're basically adding these intensely sweet Azu berries
Yes.
to like a regular wine.
Exactly.
That's wild.
I know, and the amount of Azu berries that they add determines the sweetness of the final wine, which is measured in putonios.
Putonias. Okay, my vocabulary is expanding exponentially with this deep dive.
It is.
So more putonios equals more sweetness.
Think of it as a sweetness scale from 1 to 6.
Okay.
The higher the number, the more concentrated and honeyed the wine will be.
Okay.
Azu wines range from 3 to 6 putonios.
Okay, I'm starting to get it, but what do these Azu wines actually taste like?
Oh, man.
Paint me a picture.
Imagine a deep amber color aromas of apricot orange peel honey,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's this amazing acidity that balances out all that sweetness.
Wow.
These wines can age for decades, even centuries.
Century, I can't even imagine what a century-old Azu would taste like.
I know.
Now I have to try one.
You do.
Okay, so there's one more Tokaji wine we have to talk about. The one that's shrouded in mystery.
Essencia.
Ah, yes, the Essencia. It's the holy grail of Tokaji wines.
Okay.
Incredibly rare and incredibly precious.
Wow.
It's made from the free-run juice of those super concentrated Azu berries
Okay.
with no pressing involved.
So it's like the essence of noble rot.
It really is.
Wow, that sounds almost otherworldly.
It is.
Tokaj is truly a special place.
It is.
I feel like I've only just scratched the surface, but I'm already obsessed.
I know, and that's the beauty of it. There's always more to explore and discover.
Right?
But for now, let's shift gears and journey to a land of ancient vineyards and a treasure trove of unique grapes. Greece.
Greece. I've always been curious about Greek wines. It's a country steeped in history, and I know they have tons of indigenous grape varieties.
Greece is fascinating because it blends those ancient traditions with modern winemaking techniques.
Okay.
And its wines are just as diverse as its islands and landscapes.
Okay, one thing I've always wondered about is how they grow grapes in such a hot climate.
Yeah.
Greece is all Mediterranean sunshine, right? It is heat and drought are definitely challenges, which is why altitude plays a huge role in Greek winemaking.
Okay, so the higher the vineyard,
Yes,
the cooler it is, and the happier the grapes.
exactly. Many of the best vineyards are tucked away in those mountainous areas or on hillsides where those temperatures are a bit more moderate.
That makes sense now about those grapes. Greece has hundreds of indigenous varieties,
Yes,
which is amazing but also a little overwhelming.
it is.
Where do I even begin?
Let's focus on three key PDO regions that really capture the diversity of Greek wine:
Okay.
Nose Nemea and Santorini.
Okay. Noosa, Nemea, and Santorini guide me through this Greek wine adventure.
All right, first stop, Noosa in northern Greece. It's known for its powerful red wines made from the Unomavro grape.
Junomavro. I've heard that name whispered among wine geeks. What's the story behind it?
Unomavro is often compared to Nebbiolo from Italy.
Oh, okay.
It makes wines with high tannins, vibrant acidity, and savory notes of herbs and spices. They're age-worthy, complex reds with a lot of character.
Okay, so Noosa for a serious structured red. What about Nemea?
Let's travel south to the Peloponnese region and the Nemea PDO, home to the Adjorikitiko grape.
Giorgitico, another new one for me. What should I expect from this grape?
Adjorikitiko is a bit more approachable than Unomavro,
Okay.
known for its smooth tannins, juicy red fruit, and a hint of sweet spice.
Okay.
It can also age beautifully.
So a bit softer and fruitier, but still with aging potential. Sounds intriguing. And last but not least, we have Santorini, probably the most famous Greek wine region.
Santorini is a volcanic island, and its wines are truly unique.
Oh,
They're primarily known for the Assyrtiko grape, which thrives in those volcanic soils.
okay.
It produces crisp, mineral-driven white wines with a distinct saline character.
I've heard about those crazy basket-shaped vines in Santorini.
You have.
What's the story behind those?
So the strong winds and lack of rainfall in Santorini make it tough for vines to grow. So they train them low to the ground in these basket shapes to protect those grapes from the harsh elements.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is.
They really have to work with nature to create these wines. What about sweet wines?
Oh, yes.
Does Santorini produce anything in that category?
Of course, Santorini is also known for Vinsanto, a luscious dessert wine made from sun-dried Assyrtiko grapes.
Oh, wow.
It's aged in oak barrels, which gives it those complex flavors of dried fruit, honey, and nuts.
Okay, my head is spinning. German Riesling, Austrian Gruner, Veltliner, Hungarian Tokaj, and now Greek Assyrtiko.
We've covered a lot.
We've covered so much ground.
I know.
I feel so inspired to plan my trip and experience all these amazing wines firsthand.
I think you should, and that's exactly what we hoped for. There's nothing quite like exploring a new wine region, tasting the wines, and discovering your own personal favorites.
Cheers to that, and to our listener, we leave you with this. Which region speaks to you the most? Is it the steep slopes of Germany's Moselle Valley, the peppery allure of Gruner Veltliner in Austria, the legendary sweetness of tokaj in Hungary, or the volcanic wines of Santorini? Let your curiosity guide you and get ready for an unforgettable wine adventure.
Cheers.